Hey everybody, it's Richie Greenberg here, and this is Really San Francisco, the wonderful podcast with giving glamour and glitz to the news that's here in the city by the bay. And again, I'm Richie Greenberg, joined by the wonderful co-host Erica Sandberg. Erica, how are you today?
I am good. I'm actually looking out the window at this moment and it is dreary out, so I'm happy to bring on the glitz. It's very gray and chilly, not snowy and freezing cold as much as the country is, but yeah, why not throw some sparkle into it because we really need it around here.
We do, but I was out early this morning running errands, and it was sunny. It
Oh,
was
really?
fairly nice, but yeah, I know we can complain a little bit of gloom. It's almost 60 degrees today, and other parts of the country are like freezing sub-zero, and so I know.
To bring, and I of course I always love how you dress for the occasion. The we do need, I think it really helps the general tone of a place to bring it, whatever you want to wear. If it's, I've got, actually happen to have four different tiaras, this is just one of them.
Do
But
they say anything? Your other ones, do they say anything?
you should get one. But
I don't wear them. Actually,
uh,
all right, just for fun, maybe just for a few minutes. All right.
most
So, so how about you introduce today's topic?
Absolutely. Today's topic is all about compelled speech. This is something that we've been grappling with over the past, I say 6 or 7 years, that has really ramped up. It ramped up during 2020, 2021, when we would hear in social media, but also in our average discourse, on our everyday, just talking to people, this whole silence is violence. If you don't stand up and you don't make a statement and you don't um, discuss and make a very firm commitment verbally and by written about a subject,
Mhm.
then you are committing an act of violence. You are in the wrong by being silent.
Yep, yeah, and then you need to be shunned then. Shunned, excommunicated, canceled, censored, all those different words. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure that a lot of viewers, a lot of listeners have experienced that over these years for sure.
Did you ever succumb to it? Did you ever get attacked for it and then said to yourself, well, maybe I should say something?
Well, I actually, preparing for this episode today, I made a list of all these things that I remember that we're all supposed to now fall in line. And we can go through a few of those, but I'm looking right here. I don't think that I have consciously agreed to be forced, to be compelled into saying something. And often what I do is I will say the two. In other words, the version that some people think is the way something should be mentioned, and then I will also either in parentheses or in a slash put the two together. Like for example, I know you have a couple of things that issues and compelled speech that you have yourself noticed or heard about just in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this podcast. But if we go back a few years. There were things like this whole thing with calling them homeless, those individuals. Are they homeless or are they unhoused?
Mhm.
Right? So I've never used the word unhoused. It's homeless. Um, Things like, I mean, going back even years, remember that whole thing, one plus one equals three? You couldn't even say one plus one is two. That was this whole idea of psychologically trying to gaslight and force people into thinking different and like questioning what you've always known. Like, men can get pregnant. If you don't agree with that, you get canceled, right? Or the whole trans movement with misgendering based on whatever they want their rules to be. Um, what I do now is also lumping legal and illegal alien immigrants together and just calling them immigrants. They're, yes, they are, but there's a reason for that to be done where they're lumped together because they want it to be lumped together, and that's a problem. I usually separate the two. How about this one? I've noticed this in a lot of shows or touring homes for sale. You don't call it the master bedroom anymore. Now it's the primary bedroom, right? So I thought that was pretty bizarre. A lot of that has to do with like tearing down statues and monuments. And we've talked about that in past episodes, trying to erase history, trying to change people's view of things. And even remember with the BLM, Black Lives Matter movement back in 2020, you couldn't say, well, you know what? All lives matter. No, you could not say that either. And you'd wind up getting, you'd be labeled as a right wing, a white supremacist, racist, homophobic, all of that. Or at that time also, all these photos that were coming out of political leaders, state and federal, all taking a knee during football games or other events, and this is all compelled speech.
It's compelled speak and compelled actions
Yeah.
and compelled
Mhm.
that you need to take a position on something that really may not have anything to do with you, that you don't feel strongly about, or worse, that you don't know anything about. You really have got no connection to it whatsoever. I would be very uncomfortable. In fact, so uncomfortable I wouldn't do it. Make a statement about something that I don't have intimate knowledge about. If, I just wouldn't do it. It's dangerous, and dangerous in terms of
Well,
you
and it's like
wrong.
you
You
have to go along
wrong.
with us. You
Wrong.
have to go along with us, otherwise you're and all those different, words and stuff, right? You
Also,
need to go along. And if you don't take a position and to say like what you just said, um, I don't know anything about it. Right? I don't know. I haven't researched this. I don't have a feeling. And that's also looked at it negatively as well.
yeah, exactly. Take a step back. Try to do your best to get all the facts before making a comment. And we are now seeing this ramped up, super hot. We're reaching this boiling point in the country, certainly in Minnesota, where you people feel that they need right now, at this moment, to say something, do something, make a statement. And I, I,
Hmm.
I would never do that. And I don't think it's right for people to do that because you could get it wrong. Don't do it, or you could get it right. We don't know. You
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Take a meal, take a beat. For goodness sakes, wait until it all comes out. Um,
So what have you seen in the last couple of days that has
so
prompted this to be our topic?
Well, thank you. I mean, this is something that I have seen now come out in the tech community. And I'm not a tech person. I'm really not. I'm
Me neither. Yeah.
technology.
We use it clearly, but we're not a
No,
yeah.
we're founders. We're not, we're not members of this
The
very,
V the VCs,
yeah,
investors, and other, yeah.
yeah. Um, but we certainly know people who are.
Hmm.
I value them very much. It's an essential part of our city.
Hmm.
We welcome people to come and be innovators and to start companies here, to have these wonderful startups that are funded by huge, VCs like Gary
Tan,
Tan,
Gary Tan.
and many others. We welcome them. We want them. We value them, and we need them. In many ways, this is an essential vein in our heart, and without that we don't have that same sense of excitement, innovation. This is where people come to San Francisco, where people come to launch their business, to do something exciting, to bring employees in, to move here, to move their families here, to set a foundation here. So there's really, it is truly, truly important. And it's something that we have seen for a long time. San Francisco, along with Silicon Valley, is a it is a focal point.
Hmm.
So what we're seeing right now, all of a sudden, is if Silicon Valley and San Francisco, if these leaders do not make a statement about what's happening in Minnesota, about the the ICE raids and the people who are getting shot and putting themselves in these positions where they're protesting and they're very, very firm about their opinions and they're excited about what they're doing. They're very compelled to be out there, right? This
Hmm.
is what they're doing. That's obviously what's happening.
Hmm.
Of course, you've got law enforcement and you've got ICE agents, and then you've got, and it's a very, very heated situation. That's far away. I
Hmm.
believe that's around 2,000 miles away from where we are.
Hmm.
Like, and it's not happening here. Most founders, and many of them who don't even weren't even born in this country, but just don't have a sense of what's happening. They're being pressured to
Hmm.
make statements,
Hmm.
and it's absurd. And it actually makes me really feel quite sick because I don't think anybody should be pressured. I wouldn't do it to someone if something is important to me, Richie.
Hmm.
Would I say you need to make a statement about this? No, and believe me, there are many things
Well,
I wish people would.
but you know what? Which is really interesting. I have no problem making a statement, but I'm not agreeing with those who are trying to compel us. This again, this goes back to that forced. You have to not only say what we want, but in other words, we're forcing you to have to take our side,
And
right?
again, this goes back to the whole no kings thing, right? We don't want a dictatorship. We don't want a monarchy. Despite the crown, we don't want and one person or one small group of people who are leaders to dictate this is what you say, this is how you say it, this is what how you need to vote, this is what you need to be obsessed with, and what should be important to you. That is absolute nonsense, disgusting. It needs to stop.
Yeah, it
Let them
does.
follow their own morals. What
Drumbeat.
Yes, absolutely. What's important to them, their families, their industry, their their, their culture.
Hmm. Hmm.
They're
This is yeah.
they're being funneled into this narrow little hole of you must come out and you must
Mhm.
put your name on this piece of paper that says you don't agree with all of this. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. It doesn't matter. That's your life, your personal opinion.
Yeah, and you're right. We're seeing that left and right. Plus, there's also this whole censorship too that is just continuing to grow, and but just, it repeats though. It's like history is repeating itself
Mm.
almost every 6 months to every year. There's whatever is the newest outrage. What
We
is the you
exactly.
know? Mhm.
We saw this. We saw this whole silence is violence nonsense. We watched it happen, and then it bubbled over and it burst over and it destroyed a lot of people's their reputation, their livelihood. We cannot let that happen again. I'm not going to let it happen again. And the good news is that the people who are trying this, it's kind of falling flat.
Good.
I'm happy about. Yes, there is some online buzz, but I'm not seeing it in general open discourse in the real world, which is great. I'm not seeing the signs on people's houses like, thou must make a statement about.
Whatever. Just insert the blank. Just insert whatever you want. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
really good, but it does make me nervous when I see a little bit of shakiness about this. Gosh, maybe I should say something. Maybe I should, no. Do you follow
Yeah.
yourself?
Now, one of the really bad examples, no, actually, a good example of a bad situation was back a few years ago, late 2023, early 2024, when we had the Hamas, the terrible atrocity where they attacked Israel, came in, went to the kibbutz, and kidnapped, and all the horrors there, and the music festival is within 6 weeks of that here in City Hall in San Francisco, led by a supposed, I'm using in air quotes, Jewish member of the Board of Supervisors, Dean Preston. He put through a resolution, a proposal for a resolution, saying that this is basically blaming the Israelis, blaming And they paraded one after another these really hate-filled individuals and activists and people in cafes and women that were screaming. And if you remember, there's that doctor, the MD from UCSF, Rupa,
Yes,
uh, yeah, my Rupa, who came in just like just bat crap. I shouldn't say the S word. We don't want to be censored, right? But bat crap, crazy, rabid people that were just screaming at the top of their lungs. It's all on video. I caught it. You saw it. And this is the extreme example of compelled speech, where you have the civic elected official who is now compelling his colleagues and everyone else in City Hall and wherever that could spread to in business, in life in the city, to take that side and condemning the innocent Jews for what happened. Now that's one example, but it's an extreme example, and that's we do not want that. It's not that we don't need it, we don't want it. It shouldn't have happened.
it's very cowardly. It's very cowardly to kind of turn over and say, well, I'm going to take this position, even though I don't agree with it, but this is best for me. And it's also hypocritical.
Yeah.
So this is something that we also need to address, which is here in our beloved city, we genuinely do have devastating problems. We have people dying on our streets, suffering on our streets. Entire areas of our city are falling apart. They're in really, really bad shape, despite what the PR campaign that Mayor Lurie wants to throw out. Who,
In a sense, that's compelled speech because he's paying the best PR firm out there, people hundreds of thousands of dollars. He's rich, so he's just paying it out of his pocket, not through the city, to buy the best publicity. And he goes on social media and, oh, everything's great. And yeah, there clearly is a change for the better, but to compel everyone to have to say we're on the rise and that we're back, I'm like, that's trying to compel and squash our speech.
that's so funny because I don't actually see it that way. I kind of just sort of observing from afar, going, "Oh, this is interesting," So okay, this is what he's saying, and the whole like
But people are repeating. I'm meeting people.
to dispute those claims. Okay, but what I'm saying here, Rich,
Yeah.
I know that you agree. I'm pretty sure you agree with this. Is focus, people. You're going to be making these grandiose statements about something that's far away, does not touch your life, doesn't touch the life of San Franciscans, and I'm talking about our so-called leaders and people in the tech community, when we've got genuine, hardcore, what's the stronger word for problem? I mean, devastating issues happening
Mhm.
on our streets day and night. Where is the passion for that? Where is it? How can you ignore? How can you ignore that and not make a statement about that and not get people really rallied up and passionate and stand on City Hall
Right.
and say, I'm not going to move until this is fixed. Um,
Because they don't want it to be fixed. I mean, that's a whole nother
it's
issue.
easier to say, I'm
You
not
know,
right.
a-
It is a cheat. It's weak and cowardly. You're not facing your own problems. You're not dealing with your own problems, which is ours, right?
Mhm.
And you turn the direction and you turn it to another part of the country that doesn't have anything to do with San Francisco. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't have an opinion. They are what you are. But as officials that we pay,
Mhm. Mhm.
we have a very straight line here, which is
Right.
they're all to our communities. So do that on your own time. Nothing to do with absolutely. And the same thing with any sort of anybody in the tech community who is bombarding those who dared not make a statement, dared
Mhm.
not to, right?
Mhm.
With where have you been? You've discussed restaurants and coyotes and mountain lions and whatnot, but you haven't talked about this. Who the F cares? Who the hell cares? Nothing to do with you or anybody else. People who do that are straight up bullies. And
Bully is great word.
yeah,
Yeah. Now, Erica, can you tell us how you really feel about this issue?
I would love
No,
some
no,
people
but
face.
you know,
Yeah,
the thing is though, what is so strange, or it's calculated, of course, is why is there all of this problem in Minneapolis to begin with? Because the fraud with the Somali community has been exposed. There's these the actions against the governor and the mayor, right? To indict them, bring them in, and discuss and testify under oath about all that billions of dollars of fraud, and then suddenly this happens, and no one's talking about the fraud over there. No one's talking about the Somalis that are, the horrendous fraud against the taxpayers, local, state, and us, federal, because that some of that federal money is being funneled over there. No one's talking about that at all. So they're covering it up. Yes, it was a tragedy. Yes, someone got shot and killed. That's the circumstances that are still under investigation right now. But you have all of these activists and paid people, paid organizations, paid organizers that are doing this to distract the people from what was the initial reason to begin with, which was the Somali fraud. And we also see that this is now going to move into California, where we've got, they say, 10 times, 20 times the amount of fraud that has happened here in the state in California. I'm wondering what's going to happen here. What incidents are they going to be looking for here, the activists, to then do a similar kind of blow up to cover up and to distract? Because even the federal investigators and those in Minneapolis and in Minnesota, all of a sudden you don't hear anything about what they're finding. That has just been like out of the news cycle.
yeah, definitely. It's a smoke screen. And I'm not much of a protester myself. It's not, I did back in the day. Definitely went out there in my college years. But I support people getting out there and holding up signs and yelling and doing what they need to do. It's important part of American life. And
Mhm.
100% support that. But yes, it has been whipped up into a frenzy, and a lot of it has to do with trying to take your eye off of the problem that prompted this, which is immense fraud. And something very important to consider too, and I know that you agree with this, hopefully everyone else does too, is that when you have fraud of that magnitude, we're talking many billions of dollars in Minnesota, but also in California and elsewhere, who does it rob? It robs people of services.
It robs us.
It
It
robs,
robs the yeah.
but usually it robs people who are who can least afford to be robbed, right?
Mhm.
Essential services, they then go unfunded, they go unassisted, and so it's
So, you
important.
know, we can, and we've said this multiple times over our friendship and our reporting and journalism and opinioning. You can have more than one true thing at the same
Yeah,
time, right? So at the same time, Somalis, those groups who were doing it, those individuals and who they're co-conspirators in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, or elsewhere. I think they're finding it also in Ohio, but they were doing a massive fraud.
move my crown, it is getting
Oh,
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 it's
okay. You're letting your hair down. So the fraud has happened. It has been exposed. It's being further investigated. That's one fact. That's one reality. The fraud. Second fact is that sort of as a result, the federal government has surged resources, feds and others, to investigate and go in, including various agencies of immigration and border protection group agencies have gone in. That's the second reality. And the third one is there's a lot of people who don't want the second one. They didn't want the immigration enforcement, which then is related to the fraud from the Somali people. Uh, so you have three at once. And so one does not cancel the other. One does not make the other not be there or not happen. And that's the reality as well. You have to understand there's multiple things that are all existing at the same time.
Sure. Yeah. And you can have many thoughts and many passions and things that trouble you all at the same time. There's no one says that you can't. But I think it's definitely wrong. Ultimately, what the issue is, it's really wrong to tell people what they should and shouldn't be upset about.
And
I got to say this. I mean, this is something, and this comes up in my own family, in my own personal life, is I hear people who I adore say, "Well, aren't you upset about this?" And I'm looking at them, and then I say, "Aren't you upset about this?"
well, yeah, and the thing is, like you said, there's those three things that are happening all concurrently at the same time, and in a sense, in the same place, right? In the same city, same state. When someone says to you, "Aren't you upset about it?" I would say, well, which part? One, two, or three? Which one of those concurrent things are you upset about? And we see again compelled speech. What's the simplest slogan that's out there now is to abolish ICE.
Right.
Well, why do you want to abolish ICE? ICE is immigration and customs, right? That's the two. So you want to abolish them? Or are you just being, you're just making up which part? You don't want to have borders. You don't want to have customs
There,
enforcement,
there
right?
is no difference between the abolish ICE than to defund the police. It's the same thing. It is the same thing. We've heard it before. We've heard it before. It's a redundant topic.
Yeah. Yeah. Just insert something else. Yeah.
For some people, that is going to be something that they genuinely want. Go for it. Want that. I couldn't care less. You want that? Great. Want it. I don't think it's going to happen, but want it all you want.
Mhm.
And don't try to get other people. Don't bully other people into having that same.
Yeah, and we see now even celebrities around the country are all joining aboard. We're still the same that same BS with people. Trump is in office, so I'm leaving the country. We know that that doesn't work out too well for the average person. You can't just leave the country, and where are you going to go? You have to have a visa to go into the other country if they'll let you in, and life is just not as free as what we have here.
Well, this is something I think is really important. Here we are in San Francisco, and people do have each of us is an individual. We have our individual desires and furies and whatnot. I think just if we can all just stop and hold our breath for a moment and just let people have those passions, that's great. I know somebody who he started refuse refuse. He's all
Mhm.
about garbage. This is what he loves. This is what he does. He's passionate about it. I cannot expect that founder to be passionate about AI. Maybe he is.
Mhm.
I don't know. But
Or about baking, like they open a bakery or something, right?
right,
It's passionate about whatever.
we all are going to have our unique um, passions and what drives us, and our that moral compass is what we have. Each one of us has our own. It's different.
Mhm.
Uh,
You and I are passionate about San Francisco and politics.
exactly. No, do I think that everybody should be? Well, maybe, but I don't. I think it's inherently interesting and fun, and certainly it often is. But some people are just not going to care, and that's okay. We talk
Yeah.
about other things too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
age.
at that.
Richie, what's really important here is we're seeing that compelled speech and activism that I don't think is going to have as much of a hook as it did before, which is great. But we're still seeing it. I'm still seeing the pressure put on people. And I would say for everybody who hasn't observed it yet, watch for it. Just watch
Mhm.
for it.
Yep, and look for keywords
Mhm.
and yeah. All right. So based on that, I think that we should wrap up today's
Yeah.
discussion so that way we're not looked at as being trying to compel other people's speech too much, but just yeah, just resist. See, I like that word, resist. Resist goes two ways, right? From both sides.
It does, and it's really easy to say to jump on that bandwagon and be in the majority, what you think may be the majority, right? And that's a very easy thing to make those statements,
Yeah,
to
it
sign
is.
a letter and to do all that. It's a lot harder to be that person who goes, you know what, this is just not for me. Don't know enough about it. I have other issues. I've got other things on my mind. So
Parties to go to.
I
That's right. Okay.
do money to make, pay, pay. On that note, listen, San Francisco, it's a hotbed. It is a fun place to be. It can be a high pressure environment. So pay attention to what's going on. Really, San Francisco,
Really?
really,
Okay. Thanks a lot, Erica.
my
I'll
pleasure.
see.
And thanks
All right.
for being an
Okay. Everybody take care. Thanks.